Alright, hola, all, welcome back to Soul Mechanics. I went ahead and got rid of that new desk because I didn't like the camera angle, but I'm still going to need for you to go ahead and take a seat right there for me. I'm going to do something special in this, I guess you call it an episode. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and slip something by YouTube's censorship policies. Let's see if we can pull it off. I wonder if any of you can spot it. It is, in fact, already here. Anyway, we're going to continue the course, Sidetracks course. We're going to continue talking about karma, which I tried to cover the basics of that. Oh, by the way, I just saw the Avengers movie, Endgame. Holy shit, man, that was beautiful. I mean, it was a fantastic movie. Obviously, it was bitchin', had a lot of cool fights and shit, and, you know, a lot of surprises. And it didn't follow, I mean, it didn't follow the comic book at all, really, the initial Infinity War comic book, but then I guess it wasn't really supposed to. It was brand new shit. It had a lot of cool new shit that was totally fucking banging as fuck, but the ending of it, it didn't have the that credit scene as it usually does, but it had something even cooler, man. I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody, but it was fucking glorious. It was just beautiful, and Cap got his dance. I'm gonna ruin that one. Cap got his dance. Sorry, spoiler alert, I guess. Anyways, we covered the groundwork for karma, essentially. Giving an idea as to how we're considering it to be operating for the most part. And to touch back on that previously on Soul Mechanics, values, you have a value system. Values emanate from the source field. They are, in fact, like, as I said before, kind of like the HTML of existence. They're code, kind of like codes, but essentially they're reasons, they're reasonings. They are the purpose or the idea or concept behind a thing. They are the build of an existential item of inquiry. And the thoughts have values. You know, thoughts are values. That value is going to be the real thing, essentially, what in this consideration. And so far as the schematic for Soul Mechanics goes, value is the actual real thing. Physicality, this, you know, what you see here, calm down, Piper. You know, these things obviously are not, I mean, obviously, maybe some of you aren't really caught up, you know, in the world, I guess, but, insofar as we can tell regarding, you know, recent advancements in physics and quantum mechanics, we can say with a pretty high degree of certainty that nothing you see in your physical reality is actually real. It's all very insubstantial. There's not really much to it. In fact, most of what we experience in this physical world is empty space, and what we do experience is pretty much just kind of just sort of pops up on the spot because we're looking at it. Wherever you look, it's just like a video game. It's exactly like a video game. Now, the thing with the simulation idea, this simulation theory that people have where they seem to think that life is a simulation, their idea ultimately behind it, and we'll go ahead and touch on it for just a second, but, excuse me, but people's idea of life being a simulation is they think that life must be a simulation, obviously, because we have the technology in play right now that, given, you know, advancements going into the future, maybe even lesser than 100 years from now, we could very easily create, you know, a virtual reality simulation that would be indistinguishable from the reality we experience now. So this reality must be a simulation. That's their reasoning behind it, seriously. Like, that's the idea they have. And physicists, like intelligent people who have earned like PhDs and doctorates and shit, they'll go ahead and they'll say this kind of shit. They'll stand up on stage and say it. They'll say life must be a simulation because we might be able to create one in the future. It's a facepalm scenario, for real. But no, the reality is that the simulations we create, i.e. video games and such, they're based on reality. not the other way around. Just because we've created something with a computer that's similar to the way reality operates doesn't mean that reality is the same as a simulation. Although, actually, I mean, in ultimate reality, it kind of is. But, no, I highly doubt it's a computer simulation. Obviously, it could be. That's a potentiality, but I'm going to go ahead and then doubt it. It's very much more likely that the games and the computer simulations we create are very similar to the actual happening reality because they're based on it. Makes sense to me, right? I mean, it seems to make sense to me. Anyways, pretty much wherever you happen to look, you direct your observation. Reality, pretty much, physical reality just puts itself together. And it happens so fast that obviously you can't see it happen. I'm gonna get there though. I'm moving real fast now. I'm moving like super fast. I'm stretching time out like nobody's business. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get to the point where I can see it position itself someday. That's kind of a goal. I mean, obviously that would be pretty fucking weird, wouldn't it? That'd be like tripping out in a half. Actually, taking shit like LSD or mushrooms, that kind of gets you close to that. I mean, you see, like, shit wobbles around, things move around on their own, I took shrooms once, and I felt like the scuba den was like an aquarium, and I could see the walls rippling. That was fun. We laughed our asses off. So, no, I managed to really cut myself up today. Anyways, so, yeah, there's really no substance to the substance that you witness. It pops up and it places itself together. Now there's a code behind that, which are values, and that's going to be the actual reality. That's the substance of reality. That's the actual rock hard thing. That's what you're actually witnessing, is values that are essentially telling your brain to perceive what you do, and you can't get out of that. You are perceiving, like your brain is perceiving everything. You can hold something in your hand, but the fact of the matter is that you're perceiving your hand in the brain. You're perceiving your body in the brain. None of it is actually real. It's just sensory data that is coming off of what actually exists, which is values. As I stated, it's the code, it's the build. So values in play make up your system as well. They make up your personality. Your identity is made up of a system of values that you've collected throughout your life and perhaps throughout previous lives. And it's very, we know that reincarnation has got to be real because we have so much evidence to it. Personally, I have memories that I do believe are from previous lives. And in ultimate reality, you are everyone. You've experienced everything. Even the future is already technically transpired. It's all happening right now. And even on a deeper scale or at a deeper level, it is all happening right now. Like, there is no future. There is no past. It's all an illusion. It's all a trick in the brain. And really, you've got to get out of that. The only way you can know what's actually happening is to get out of the brain, and even by in the phantom body via astral projection, as they call it, you're not getting out of the brain. You're only picking up the memory data that's translated by the brain from the experience. So I mean, you can get out of this body into another one, but it's connected. You are incapable of experiencing anything right now that is not translated via the brain. That's memory data translated via the brain. Now, so something that we didn't touch on in the last one are the elements of existence. What makes up existence itself, the elementary values. There are three primary elementary values that make up existence: gravity, memory, relativity. And gravity essentially is what holds things together, what positions things. It's the value that gives a position. And we have an idea of gravity as, pulling things down towards the planet and maneuvering celestial objects, but gravity is actually holding the atoms together as well. There is quantum gravity in play. We haven't discovered that yet. We haven't really discovered how to like weigh that out, or measure it, but it does exist, and we're going to find that pretty soon. You're going to find things are going to start advancing faster and faster. But there is gravity holding the very atomic structure together, and even gravity holding the particles together. So that's something to think about. The idea of going into outer space. They say that there's no gravity out there. If there were no gravity out there, the atoms of the astronauts would fall apart. So either A, there is gravity out there and they don't actually know that, or they're lying to you, or B, they've never actually gone into outer space and they're lying to you. So, one or the other, they're lying to you either way. So that's an obvious fact that I'm really surprised so many people don't pick up on. Like, I think anybody else has ever caught that I've seen. Anyways, the secondary one is memory. That's essentially what's remembered, and it's going to be gravity gives a position, and then there is data, i.e. data, information, in formation. It's just whatever it is. Nobody knows what it is. It's just reality, essentially soul. It's just soul positioning itself in formation. That's what information is. Just whatever the substance is that we're witnessing, it's in a formation. And that information, that construct, it remembers to be what it is, and it's continuously remembering to be what it is. Now, if you could cause a thing to forget to be what it is, who knows what would happen. That's gotta be a cool one. Anyways, everyone, man, I got like 5 lighters. They all do that. I didn't even fuck with that one. I fuck with the other one, but that's brand new. It's doing that. I have no idea. Malfunction. Everything malfunctions on me. So, let's see if we can get reality to malfunction on me, right? So, then there's relativity. So you have positioning via gravity. You have memory, which is whatever's held together by the gravity and positioned by the gravity, remembering to position itself repeatedly. Faster than you're capable of witnessing, even faster than the brain is capable of witnessing. And then you have relativity, which is how things relate to each other, essentially, and that's a law that's put into play. The theory of relativity put into play has kind of created this essential factor that we understand as being an element of existence, which is basically, essentially coming down to the factor of timing, how time is working based on the relative factors, as in, distance, for example. Distance is going to determine a difference in time. Via special relativity has some out there kind of factors, but general relativity essentially states that, the positioning and the speed of an object is going to determine a difference in the time of it. And so this is how we have relative time frames. And very much it explains it, but there's really no telling whether it's explaining something that was already there or it created it. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and state that I think it was created by Einstein. There were people helping him. That's a certainty. That Einstein didn't come up with that entirely on his own. He had people helping him, but essentially they constructed relativity for us. And so we have that as a third elementary factor, and that puts together ultimately what we can refer to being as being referred to as being reflection. And reflection is existence. Everything is reflecting, and that's the reasoning behind it moving backwards. That's why we witness time happening in reverse. And when I speak to time, again, we're talking about the fabric of reality. We're not talking about passing time. We're talking about the fabric of existence. We are witnessing it happening in reverse. That means your comprehension is moving in reverse. That means it's very likely that most of the concepts and ideologies you have are fucking flat out backwards. And you're going to see this in everything if you really take a look at it. Again, meditate in every moment. So those are the three elements of existence, and that's what makes up reflection, which is existence. It's you reflecting upon yourself, and you have this consideration of who and what you are in play, which is the persona you've created by assembling a value system. And so karma is the laws of attraction, which that's made up of values too. Everything's made up of values, but the laws of attraction are responding to the implications you put into play. The implications that you put into play are determined by your value system. So, what I'd like to speak to today in this episode is going to be what happens when a value system goes the wrong way. Now, obviously, wrong is relative. You can't say that something's actually innately wrong in ultimate reality. In an absolute situation, there is no such thing as right or wrong. It's all relative. You might murder somebody, okay? Don't fucking murder somebody, okay? We're gonna have to go ahead and say that is kind of wrong. I mean, just try not to murder anybody, okay? Generally don't hurt people, but you might go ahead and murder somebody. Shit happens. Now, people are going to look at that, especially people who care about that person, they're going to be like, wow, that's fucking wrong, right? That's bad. They're going to hate you for that shit, man. Like, damn, they're going to really and they're going to probably, like, either have you locked up for life or they're going to kill you. Which, I mean, is it right to kill somebody for killing somebody? It's a relative scenario. Now, you might murder somebody. Perhaps you murdered that somebody because they murdered somebody, or because you were defending somebody, or because, say, that person had plotted to murder somebody and you knew that, and you knew that they were definitely going to follow through with it, so you killed them to stop it because you care about that somebody. Are you still wrong? I mean, who knows? But karma, essentially, is going to be picking up on your reaction to that is likely going to be guilt, unless you're a psychopath. If you're a psychopath, you're probably free from the law of karma, as people like to think of it. Buddhism, I think Buddhism kind of tends to think of it as being a law. But whatever the case, karma is supposed to be kind of a system of balances, a debt system, essentially, which we have this idea in our minds as human entities that everything is based on debt and compensation, which brings us back to the concept of value. Again, I came up with the concept of value. That's my thesis. As I said, Robert M. Piersick had a very similar idea, but he used differing terminology that is not really, in my opinion, correct at all. It doesn't fit. Mine's a lot better. My system's a lot cooler. But he was awesome. Don't get me wrong. He was an awesome guy. He went through some crazy shit. We'll give him props. Robert Piersick's a bad motherfucker, and he's a master rhetorician. I love that. But so he and I are very, very similar. We have very similar lives, but again, he fucked up using those terms. Mine system of value is a lot cooler, and honestly, I should be a lot bigger. So why don't you guys fucking like and subscribe subscribe to my motherfucking channel, like the videos, share them with people because they're good. Don't be a dick, man. Fucking help me out here. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so if you kill somebody, you're likely to feel guilt for it. Now, if you feel guilt, the laws of attraction are going to be delivering unto you things that make you feel guilty. Ultimately, deep down beneath things, you might feel in the moment, you might be happy about something. Who knows what you do? You might get laid, you might use some drugs or something, you might get a boost, but ultimately, having murdered somebody, you're very likely to be feeling guilty deep down, long term. So the laws of attraction are going to be responding to that, because chances are most of the things that you do, you're going to be putting implications into play that are very much voicing your guilt to the world, and it's going to respond by delivering unto you things that continue to make you feel guilty and guilty and guiltier and guiltier. Now, what's going to happen here how karma's working here, you might say, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't seem to be like there's no debt being repaid there. Is there? Well, is there? Yes, because in ultimate reality, we have a one-dimensional system. That because there really is only one dimension. Anybody who hasn't watched the dimension videos, don't, because I really fucked those up. They suck. I'm going to have to redo them at some point. But we do get down to the point that there is, in fact, really only one dimension existing. And it's kind of, there's trickery involved into making it seem as though it's four-dimensional, or rather, making it seem as though it's three-dimensional from a four-dimensional perspective. Now, and that's an illusion. It's all an illusion. It's all a mirage. Another YouTuber said that, and then he went on and on and on and on and on, trying to come up with like the torsion field of existence, and then we have shadow selves downloaded from some alien source. Like, people get ridiculous with this. It's not that complicated, man. Existence is actually pretty fucking simple. It really is. Now, From that one-dimensional perspective, or in ultimate reality, there's only one thing in an absolute situation. There's only one identity. There's only one soul. There's only one thing. Period. And it's inventing itself essentially, repeatedly, reflecting upon itself, and that's where the duality factor comes into play, because there is one other. There is one second. That's what makes time happen. That reflection factor. Now, and that's where light comes from. Light is a reflective entity. It's that, these concepts are presented. These values are right in front of you. Existence itself is speaking to you, telling you exactly what it is, and it's that simple. But it's constantly doing this. Just pay attention, man. But there's only that onlyness factor, that one thing in place. So like attracts like. That's why the laws of attraction function the way they do. Like attracts like, because there's only one thing. It's going to attract itself. However, from our perspective, on what you could say is a surface level, that's going to be the substance, the bottom. But on the surface level, we have a dualistic perspective, wherein we see everything in dualities. We see the divine dichotomy, which is that 1 second playing off of itself. It's the split that causes everything to be operating in opposites. So from our perspective, opposites attract. That's how our magnetic compatibility is operating. So what's going to happen here is that the more you attract things that make you feel guiltier and guiltier, particularly, you're probably going to continuously be hurting people. Eventually, somebody's going to hurt you back. And that's how you get that debt repaid. That's why you get that debt repaid. It's not an actual law in effect that's saying I absolutely going to, if you kill somebody in this life, you're going to get killed in the next life. No, it's a very high probability that you're going to wind up getting killed, because you're going to keep putting yourself in situations where that becomes a likelier and likelier potentiality. And eventually it's going to happen. It's just somebody's going to get fed up with your shit and stick you. Smart people carry knives. Anyways, that's my idea generally of how that's going to be working. Now, in extreme cases, perhaps say somebody draws that knife on you and you get the upper hand and you kill them first. You're going to feel justified in doing that because you were defending your life. And at that point, that guiltiness factor, it's not going to be touching on you so much. And from that point forward, you are going to essentially be broken. That value is going to break. And from that point forward, you're going to feel justified in doing whatever you do, and kind of lean towards that psychopathic mentality, which at that point, you're kind of free of the karmic debt, because you're no longer going to be feeling guilty about these things. You're going to feel justified in them, and at that point, you're going to be attracting things that are not compliant with the actual happening reality. So this is theoretical. This is an hypothetical situation, speaking to why essentially psychopaths, tend to get away with it for a time at least. I mean, obviously we catch a lot of serial killers, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and bet that there are more that get away with it. There are a lot more that actually go ahead and get away with it. Now, television likes to make you think that the cops always get their guy, but no, that's not. That's very unlikely. Especially considering the amount of missing persons cases we get. Now, I have theories behind that, and it's going to go back to some of the more prophetic considerations that we have and the essential values in play, but we'll get to that in other videos because it's a whole other topic. But for the most part, there's got to be a pretty high amount of these missing person cases that are serial killers getting away with it. So, that's going to be my theory on essentially what I'm going to have to refer to as being kind of a broken soul, because these are people who are going to break the rules insofar as concerns karma, break the rules of karma. Yes, these rules can be broken. You are not bound, as so far I'm telling you from my scientific outlook on this, you are not bound by some karmic debt that is absolutely certain. You, in fact, can break that rule and get away with it. Now, I'm not advising you to do that. I'm certainly not suggesting it, because it's probably a pretty fucking bad idea, especially considering that in ultimate reality, if you do go around hurting people, those people are you. And that's something you're really going to want to try and keep in mind, anybody that's watching. Everybody you come across, they're a part of you. Be kind, be loving, do what you can to help others out, be a good fucking person. Generally, just don't be a fucking asshole. I know I'm an asshole, but really, I think I'm only really an asshole where it's needed. And in that, I feel justified, and I'm probably a broken person because of it. But I do get shit done. And again, I think I should be a lot bigger than I am. So please, go ahead and fucking like the video and share it and subscribe to my channel and tell other people to do the same, because my channel kicks ass and I want it to get bigger. And I'm going to have money in the future, hopefully. I mean, I got this job. It doesn't look like I'm going to lose it, so at least not soon. So I'll have enough money to kind of make cooler shit happen with the videos. So go ahead and give me the support I need to continue kicking ass here, people. Anyways, I think that's as much as I have to say here. Again, the Avengers movie was fucking bitchin', and it sucks because I don't want to cut it on this song. That song is great. This is one of my favorites, man. Skunk and Nancy's a badass band. Anyways, if anybody can spot what I did in fact slip by the censorship policy, go ahead and comment that shit. Spotter's challenge is in effect always. Well, almost always. If I tell you it's not in effect, then it's not. But if I don't, chances are it probably is. And you're missing a whole lot of cool shit that's kind of extracurricular insofar as watching the video is concerned. It's incentive to pay attention, really. Anyways, thank you for this time. Very happy to have made this video for you, especially considering that I feel as though I'm doing a better job now with the musical score and the cool intro. It is a cool intro. Don't fucking mock me. So, yes. Love you guys. Keelah Salai, Taerve Uni, Siari, Namasté.